I say it is time for us to come together as one united people.
1 year ago tonight in the U.S., it looked like this and like this.
Not my president!
Whether it was the first day of a new age of American greatness or the start of a political dumpster fire, tonight we're going to get a read on where the country is going now. Of course, one person who loves reliving the U.S. election is, of course, Donald Trump. We looked into it, and out of the past 365 days, Trump has tweeted either about Hillary Clinton or his election win on 69 of them. On average, that's more than once a week, including, of course, today. Today's tweet includes a photo of Trump at the presidential desk on Air Force One with some of his inner circle, his communications director, his controversial far-right political advisor, his son-in-law, his staff secretary and social media director. The caption, "Congratulations to all of the deplorables and the millions of people who gave us a massive landslide victory."
Hello, Virginia!
But the latest electoral landslide in the U.S. was in Virginia last night, where Democrats won the governorship and more than a dozen state seats. It's the only real electoral victory for the Dems since Trump took office. And boy, does it have his foes fired up.
Trump, you don't stand for our values. The Democratic Party is back, my friends.
But the truth is, despite Trump's low approval ratings, polls show more than 80% of Republicans still back him. And if last year's election were held again tonight, he'd still have an awfully good chance of winning. So 1 year later, what do we know about where Trump's America is going? Can you even predict? Following the polls and political currents is Philip Bump's job, curse, whatever you want to call it. He's a correspondent with the Washington Post and joins me tonight from New York. Philip, good to see you. Let's break down Virginia a little bit for Canadians and those Democratic wins. Should we read anything into that about where America is headed?
Yeah, I think you should. One of the things that we saw last year in the election was that Donald Trump was facing off against a very unpopular opponent, which was Hillary Clinton. And that actually worked to his advantage. There were a lot of folks who stayed home who weren't really jazzed about coming out to vote. And what we saw in Virginia last night was we saw Democrats who were very, very, very motivated to come out and vote. This is a race that the Democrats probably should have won. Hillary Clinton won Virginia last year. It currently has a Democratic governor. But what we saw last night was Ralph Northam, who ended up winning, the Democrat, was expected to win by about 3 points. He ended up tripling that. He won by about 9. And this was after his opponent, Ed Gillespie, had run some very hard-right anti-immigration ads that really echoed what Donald Trump had done. So it was really a contest between a Democrat and someone who was trying to run a Trump-style campaign, and the Democrat won by a wider margin than expected.
It's interesting because Trump was sort of disavowing Gillespie today, even though they're very much in line with one another. So what are Republicans reading into the way last night unfolded?
I think a lot of Republicans are pretty freaked out, right? I mean, we've got the 2018 elections looming. Everyone in the House of Representatives is up for re-election, and there are going to be a lot of Republicans who need to get past the primary, who need to get past a more conservative electorate, and then are going to be facing a Democrat in November. Yeah. And they need to figure out, is it going to be helpful to stand with Donald Trump? And the answer last night was, it may not be.
So what should it's been a year of unpredictable things here in Canada for us, too. We've been affected by Trump as much as you guys may be. What should we look ahead to as how this might unfold?
Well, I think you played a clip from Donald Trump on election night last year in which he called for a United States, right? He called for unity. And what we have never seen from him over the 365 days since is an attempt to actually build that unity. He's consistently pandered to his base, consistently reached out to the people who voted for him. And I think the question is, will Donald Trump do anything at this point? Deeply unfavorable. He just lost a big race that showed that his sort of politics can't always win everywhere. Does he actually change from this point forward? The smart money is on no, he can't. And that means that the Republicans head into 2018 with a very unpopular president who a lot of Americans don't like, and they're facing a headwind, a strong, strong headwind, as we saw last night.
And can the president even change, I guess, is the question at this point.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
And the answer is almost certainly no.
All right, Philip, thanks for making time for us tonight. Appreciate it. The election of Donald Trump had, as I suggested there, an almost immediate impact here in Canada.
We'll see if we can get that pipeline built.
Less than a week in office, Trump made good on a key campaign promise to approve the long-stalled Keystone XL pipeline project. TransCanada is still deciding whether it'll go ahead with construction, but it could be a potential economic boom for Alberta.
The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
But Canada and the U.S. remain at odds on climate change. After the president pulled out of the Paris Agreement, the U.S. is now the only country in the world that isn't signed on to the landmark climate deal.
The fact is, NAFTA, whether it's Mexico or Canada, is a disaster for our country.
But the biggest wild card in U.S.-Canada relations is NAFTA. Negotiators have begun the difficult task of rewriting the free trade agreement and potentially redefining the economic relationship between Canada, the United States, and Mexico. The outcome of NAFTA could reshape the entire Canadian economy, especially if the president decides to rip it up.